Hello and welcome back to the Neither World podcast. I'm Perry and I'm joined by my co-host
Charlie. Hi, I'm here still.
Oh, it's Ben. Hey.
Matty.
And this week we also have a special guest. So would you like to introduce yourself and give us fun facts?
Hello, I'm Brit, also known as Book Beverage on many social media accounts. And to be honest, a fun fact about me is I play guitar and have done for 6 years.
Amazing, that's so cool.
I love that you kind of did like a little bit of a like a little bit of a fuckboy. Yeah. Oh.
I love it.
We love to see
So
it.
this week we're introducing little segments that we're doing and we're going to have in this podcast. So first up we have the deets, and it's almost like Broadway's shut, so we don't really have much to talk about.
Well,
I mean that's enough to talk about in itself, really, isn't it? But
they
heard we didn't have much to talk about, so they're like, hey, let's close Broadway again and shut Beetlejuice. That will give the World podcast some content.
Yeah, I mean, specifically for a Beetlejuice podcast, it is a little bit juicy, especially the day before recording.
Yeah, absolutely. Sitting there thinking what we're going to talk about. Oh, okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
In the worst possible news. Good, decent
We're
content.
getting PTSD.
Oh,
Yeah.
precisely. Yeah, it's I've seen some pictures of Broadway as well, and it's like crazy because anytime I went it's so like vibrant and like crazy and people everywhere. And then especially the Winter Garden, as it being like this massive theater, one of the bigger ones, so full of people and stuff. And just like knowing how it was to be in that theater and stuff like that, or see videos of that, it's kind of just like, oh no, because it's sad to think about that it's gone. I think, because it's not even that it's closing. Like closing was a different, like a different feeling of that. Well, it's happening and that's already pretty shit, but that it's happened, which is like a similar feeling to how, although I don't give a shit about school, but like that how school closed and that we now have to don't have to do any GCSEs anymore, and like that's the end. So like personally for my school, I'm not going back to that school anymore. So literally I've been there for 2 years and now like I didn't say goodbye or anything because I was at home, and then they're like, oh no, you're done. I'm like, okay. So it's so weird as well for all the people, because it's mainly OG cast there as well. Yeah. So like they're all just like, oh, over.
Yeah, they don't get their last hours. They don't get those kind of moments that when you go into a show you kind of are excited for. So when you know that you're going to end, you're going to have a party, you're going to all get together, you'll get kind of last drinks and things.
Yeah,
but that's not really something that they get now, obviously, because they have already closed.
Well, yeah, it's a lack of closure. And also, I'd just like to bring up to lighten the mood for a little sec that Brit is changing their. we're on Zoom, lads, and that Brit is wonderfully changing the background of the Zoom thing as we have told you how that works. To multiple
a blessing and a curse.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. To multiple Adam kissing Beej and some Pepe frog content.
And
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.
Content. Loving the Kevin content.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, no, it's also something like when something so sad happens, and because there's no closure, it doesn't feel like it's real. Like when there's a closing and you go or you hear about it or like they get the final buzz, they get this after party, whatever. Like you can be sad about it. Like I'm still sad about it, obviously, but it doesn't feel like it's actually happened because it's a non-existent thing. Yeah. So it's a weirder kind of sad. It's like oh. Okay.
It's like I should have been sad like a month ago sad.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to cope with the fact that the sadness I should have felt a month ago is happening now, even though I thought it was going to be happening a couple of months down the line.
Yeah, it's like sad vibes.
Yeah, sad vibes only. Sad vibes only.
Brit's new background. That's
correct. That is a good background.
Absolute vibe.
There we go.
Yeah, that's quite appropriate for this content.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay.
Nice.
Actually, no.
Yeah, it's just that lack of closure thing. And I mean, like obviously for Alex, where he's been there since the very beginning, the fact that he wasn't at the last performance that they did, it was Will as Beetlejuice.
Oh shit.
Yeah, when I found out it was Will, I felt so bad for Alex. It's like this massive build-up, and then it's just gone.
Yeah.
Snap of fingers, gone.
He was put on vocal rest the day before. So he was like, hey guys, I'm not going to be in today or tomorrow, but I'll be back next week. And then
the next week never came.
They never came back.
Yeah.
No.
God, that's horrible to think about, actually.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, there's to get on a bit of a deeper level of that. There's so much of life that just happens, of that something ends or something changes very abruptly, in which that you don't have knowledge of that. So like, it may be the last time you see somebody, or the last time you see somebody for like a few years and you don't expect that, or the last time you ever do a certain thing or see a show or like go to a certain country, like whatever, like especially with Corona, right? Like nobody expected this to be an entire like worldly lockdown. Like I was literally supposed to be in New York currently. Like my friend was supposed to come do a concert with me, and like she had to get off her plane because of it. Like all these plans, all these things, like nothing is that's a bit sad and a bit intense, but like nothing is definite and set unless it's like happened, which is whack.
Absolutely.
But I think you can take that in like a positive light of that. Right now it's like very, very easy, and I think it's also very valid to like freak out and be sad and like this is a real shame and think about all that, which we definitely should, but that focus on like the great things of that. What I like right now is that the cast are posting some like really sweet memories and things of how it's like happily affected them. And I think as well with like the fans, of people are posting like stage door stuff, people are posting times they saw it, like or just even listening to it, like even if you don't live anywhere near it, even if you don't have the money, even if like, you know, like I know like Matty and Charlie, like you guys haven't seen it, but it's still but you still...
No, we're too poor.
Yeah, I mean you live in England. The only reason I go is because I have family there, but like which is like super lucky and great, but it's crazy how as a show, like how much this is touched everybody as a thing. And another thing I want to say about closing, because I haven't talked enough yet at all, because I'm just like is about like how, which I saw a few people going around about how it's, I mean, bullshit for many, many reasons, but that it kind of got like snubbed at reviews and awards, and how that affects so many shows. And I've seen that like Beetlejuice is one that got a bit more recognition and popular and has a bigger fan base than a lot of shows that I've seen this happen with, but that like it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Like literally my favorite musical, not Beetlejuice as much as I love it, but it was this smaller show called The Grinning Man, based on a Victor Hugo novel. Musical, gorgeous, and it didn't even get nominated for an Olivier because like Hamilton came in town and immediately it did a sweep, and they like nobody gave a shit about this gorgeous new thing, and because like the producers really didn't super care about it, and like that it didn't get the love it needed, or I think they were all right with reviews, but how much like advertisement and reviews and the thing of the business and the reality of Broadway is not that it's like if you're good it's fine, like, or if the show is good it will do great. Like there's so much politics of it, and so much like heavily money obviously, and like not always even ticket sales, like who can outbuy you, or a crazy situation like this where you just like that's it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not like with film either, because with film comes out and no matter what the reviews, someone will go see it and it will get money, and then it will forever be around. And then when it comes to award season, yes, some will get it, but it may not be the film that everyone loves that year that gets the awards. You have it so many times where everyone's rooting for a film and then the other film gets it. But that doesn't stop people from still being able to see that film that lost. It's not like that's pulling the rug out from under it, or suddenly it gets no funding, it's never put on streaming services, things like that. There's always a way to find films that you've seen that other people may not have enjoyed as much. And with theatre, it's that kind of temporary nature of it, where you get it so briefly, and even if it is like a long run, you get cast changes, you get moving the venues, you get set changes. I mean, Les Mis at the moment have just had a big upheaval and rejig of what they're doing over there. And that kind of temporary nature of everything, of different productions, just means that every theatre fan at some point will lose a show. And it really does hurt, especially for the number of people who have entered theatre and it started enjoying theatre because of Beetlejuice. That show then being taken away, they don't really have any other platforms to go to. Yeah, Brit's waving there.
Yeah, exactly.
But like on a more positive note, it's not going to be the end of Beetlejuice like forever, because they said they're still going to do a US tour most likely.
Yes, absolutely.
Like they're looking for a new theatre still to put it on. So although it's lost the Winter Garden, it's not the complete end of Beetlejuice, which is great.
It's too good of a show to be gone, really, isn't it? Let's face it. The whole fan base, anyway, is just a force to be absolutely reckoned with. Like, it's quite scary. I don't even know if Music Man is going in Winter Garden now, because when I googled it, it's now the Phantom Menace, apparently. So I don't know if we scared him away. I don't actually know.
The amount of like hate they got from us, or just backlash from them being kicked out of Winter Garden by them.
I mean, it's obviously not their fault, but like, as I said, like the fans, we're scary, I tell you.
I mean, I have mixed feelings about the Music Man thing. Of like, I think because the reality of the situation was that, and also like I have some producer friends and they like told me this shit from the beginning. Not that they can predict the future, but like, you with producing, the whole thing of producing is, do you think this is going to do well? Like a producer was like, oh my god, kids of your age, do you think this show's going to do well? Should I invest in it? Because that's the targeted demographic. Not that I'm going to like entirely influence this thing, but like I was just somebody of that age, and stuff like that. They were like, well, I don't think Beetlejuice is going to do very well because the reality of it is that most movie musicals, like, everybody goes to see it straight away because they are curious about it, and then if it's not great, or if the novelty is worn off, it kind of flops. But because Beetlejuice was really good, and because it had this fan base, and because it also had like a TikTok blow up and a reach, and it's great, luckily it kind of like held up like that. So like with the Music Man, they had already like booked the theatre as a Brit, you're really fucking with the conversation. no, it's great. I miss Rob. But of I can't fucking remember what I was on about now.
I'm so sorry.
Just thrown Ben off his train of thought now.
I'm living for this chaos.
For the people listening that don't know what's going on, I've just changed my background to a photo of Alex Brightman, aka Beetlejuice, snogging Mr. Maitland. Oh. So I do apologise for that. I'll get back on track. I'll behave.
Oh no, it's okay. It's.
Yeah. So next up we have our little attic chat. So this is going to be a little section where we're going to talk about some stuff. We've kind of covered a little bit of the series and things about this, so I think we'll probably just go straight to a little bit of a chat with Brit, our lovely guest. Okay. So Brit's going to
interrogation time.
Okay. So first question. We all answered these questions last episode, so we're going to put them out to you. So the first question is, how did you start as a cosplayer?
Well, I was scrolling through social media one day, and through advertisement there was the Beetlejuice trailer, and I thought, what? I did not know that was a thing. How did I not know that was a thing? And I started doing loads of research, and obviously immediately costumes, the sets, everything, I just found it absolutely phenomenal. And I'd always enjoyed the theatre and Broadway and stuff, so it just immediately inspired me. So I thought, you know what, I'll try and make a costume. And it didn't go very well to start with. I mean, it was very badly thrown together and it didn't look exactly the way that I wanted it to. So after learning from you guys and other people that I got heavily inspired by, I ended up putting a lot more effort into everything I was doing, such as costume, makeup, props, the whole of everything. And then obviously all of you guys were hyping me up. making me feel like I was doing a really good job, and it made me really happy.
You are.
Stop it! No.
You
We
are.
will hype you. We will keep hyping you.
So there you go. So then from there, I thought, you know what? Everyone's really nice. This fandom is amazing. All cosplayers are genuinely just like really sweet people that I've met so far, at least. So I thought this is something I could get into and something I could enjoy. And although I've only really cosplayed Beetlejuice over the past 4 months, however long it's been, I do have plans for the near future.
Ooh,
Oh,
Exciting.
fancy.
Life story there.
that's so
Okay,
cool.
so I think it's over to Matty for the next question.
Yes. Brit, is there any funny stories that you have from your time as a cosplayer?
Oh no. Wow. There's just really too many to go through, I think. I mean, quite an extravagant person anyway. So obviously getting into cosplay, I'm sure you all agree, you immediately get in the mindset of the character that you are cosplaying.
Oh,
100%. Yeah. So whenever, I mean, I find myself to be very similar to his character anyway, but whenever I'm in Beetlejuice cosplay, the chaos just completely stems far too much. And I've gone downstairs in full cosplay at like 3 a.m. and just baked a cake just because I wanted to do that. I don't know why. I've had to answer the door to the postman, and those who've seen the show or listened to the soundtrack, you know what I just wanted to say. And I just thought, I can't do that. That's not socially acceptable. And to be honest, during this pandemic, I've come so close to just walking down the street dressed in cosplay, just kind of like waving at people, just like.
I mean, that's the way to keep social distance. I don't think many people are going to be like coming up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
now is the opportunity to do something like that, because no one can tell you off.
Exactly.
No one's close enough to see you, and if they are, they're going to get further away. It's fine.
Exactly. I mean, unfortunately, I haven't managed to go to a convention yet, as Comic-Con got cancelled because of coronavirus. So I haven't managed to meet any of you in real life yet, but I'm sure when I will, we will make a lot more funny stories.
Brit, where
It's
are
going to
you?
be chaos.
Brit, where are you
I'm
based?
so scared.
Yeah.
Huh?
Brit, where are you based?
Oh, Birmingham.
Oh, well, that's fucking convenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's so cool. I don't think I realised you were English for a bit. Like, obviously now.
Is it not the accent? The accent does not give it away.
No,
I
I mean when I knew you on TikTok. I don't mean like.
TikTok.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. All right.
Amazing.
Oh yeah. It's my turn.
Oh.
Hey. What advice would you give to someone who is wanting to become a cosplayer? I know you're a little bit new to it, but you're already smashing it. So. What advice?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Here we go.
You don't get those views for nothing.
All I can say to someone that's new to everything is do not limit yourself due to looks. And I know that sounds like really weird, but no matter where you come from, no matter what your body type, your size, anything, hair color, it doesn't matter. If you like a character, go for it. Don't let anything stop you. I mean, Beetlejuice is male. I'm a girl, but I'll cosplay him anyway, even if I am painting on the beard. I do not care. I will do it. I will go and do stuff like that. So everyone else should be the same. Don't think that you're going to get a hate or backlash. So I was never going to post any Beetlejuice content because I wasn't happy with my costume at the time. But I kind of just like swallowed my pride and I was just like, okay, I'm going to do it. And obviously, all of you guys later, it's still going fairly strong. So no matter what you're telling yourself, if you like a character, you want to cosplay them, do it. It doesn't matter your budget. It doesn't matter anything that you think is holding you back. Forget about it and just go for it.
I love
And
that.
then it'll improve in time. Give yourself time to
Yes.
improve. You'll get more comfortable on camera. You'll get more comfortable with facial expressions, everything. Just give yourself time and be forgiving to yourself. That's the main piece of advice I can go for.
I totally agree. I think I love it's good to be like positive attitude. I think you're like so far from this call of like knowing you for 20 minutes of that. You seem like a really cool and chill and positive person. And I think what's good about at least the right side of the cosplay community is that like people are at least very nice about that, and that the whole thing of cosplaying characters that you like them or you relate to them or you like the costume, you know, like whatever, like it's for fun. Like it's all, and some people take it way too seriously, and that's not cool. But on like a on like a lighter note, talking about like doing it despite like looks or whatever, this is like on a way less serious tone of people being shitty about like your weight or your race or whatever, but that I recently just split dye my hair blonde and black, and then I was like, I'm gonna cosplay Wormwood finally, Mr. Wormwood from Matilda the musical, and that I had got my suit done and I was like, oh, I'll do it, and then I realized I didn't bring my like wig, which is like garbage. It's like an Elvis wig because that was the thing that had the most like height. But I was like, oh, I'll do it without my wig. And then I was like, oh, now we have Wormwood, this like 50-year-old father with split dye e-boy hair. But like it doesn't matter. Like it's all but also like it worked really weirdly well. But it was but you know, and definitely the confidence thing of being in a character and in a cosplay of like that you really like. So like he's an absolute bastard, but like I love that outfit and I love that cosplay. So immediately I'm like a million times hotter in this like rat man's green suit.
Fair enough. I mean, sometimes after filming some stuff, depending on the tonality of what I've been recording, I will absorb that emotion, and sometimes I can't even deal with myself. Hence, like if I'm filming a scene that's very heavy with emotion, and this Beetlejuice is angry or something, if I'm pulling an angry facial expression for long enough, I will trick my brain into thinking that I am angry. And then I'll spend the rest of the day being really grouchy. And I'm just like, what am I doing? I'm not even in cosplay. What's going on?
Method acting, and that's on Kenny moment.
Magical cosplay.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Just adopt the feeling.
Yeah, no, it's great how that can happen.
Definitely.
I come from a background of psychology, and just the psychology of all of that just blows my mind. Of just, you see a character, you dress up as a character, you make a frowny face, and then suddenly you are that character being angry, and it's great. And I love all of this, and especially Brittany background. We approve.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Chaos causer.
That's adorable.
Oh, I'm spinning. I'm in a spinning chair. Okay, I'm just going to sit back down and not do what I was about to do.
Yeah, be careful. We don't want an injury.
Okay. So yeah, Charlie, I think it's...
Right, so we also want to discuss like a little bit more of theories of what might happen to Beetlejuice now it's no longer in the Winter Garden. I mean, we've already covered like moving to a different theatre or the US tour.
West End.
But if you guys have any other theories,
West End.
Let's hear them.
Yeah, totally West End.
I'm begging, I'm praying, I'm hoping West End. There's literally, I've made an account before all this garbage of a friend of mine who was in School of Rock, which also closed, R.I.P. Jake Sharp, who is an
absolutely
yes, who needs to be. Brit, I'm not sure if you're aware of Jake Sharp, but he's basically like, you know, the Dewey Finn type, which is very common to like them to cast to look like Alex, and so
I think I am familiar. Yes, I'm terrible with names, but good with faces.
Yes.
I will get pictures.
Yeah, set it as your Zoom background. And basically he's like feral and crazy, and so I would really like it to come over here so we can get some Dewey types to play Beach, and to have it over here would be really cool, as well as they had kind of talked about it. And I think that would be really fun. I'd love for it to be over here.
Totally. Yeah, no, it'd be amazing for it to come over here.
Absolutely. I mean, I saw a comment somewhere, I don't know how true it is, Alex has said that if it does go to the West End, he'd consider it, which is For someone who said he doesn't really like flying, he said he'd consider it. But I don't know how recent that was and or how
I think
the statement. But
I think when I
it would
asked
be cool.
him, yeah, no, that would be really cool. I think I asked him one time, and then he was like, absolutely not. But that's likely due to like he doesn't like flying. But I think maybe especially due to all this mess, like if that's the next step for it, and he didn't actually get to finish it, I think what he may do is like go over for a small stint, do it in London. But also the sad reality of it is that like visa is so difficult to get from America to England and like get work over there as like a lead thing, especially because also like we don't really have unions here like for actors in the same way that they do the actors union, and he'd be leading, and like it's all this very different thing of pay and accommodation. Also he has a dog and a wife, so like
who cares about them? Leave them. Come to us. We are the priority.
I think that's
I'll buy you a new dog and we'll find you a new wife, Alex. Come here now.
He should any better.
Yeah.
I think
I'm hoping for the best timeline of Jake Sharp as Beetlejuice and Will Blum as understudy, or Will as Beetlejuice and Jake as understudy.
Yes, because Will works in London sometimes.
Yeah.
Which would be...
Because Will has worked in London, he knows the area, he knows the theatres. I think he did a couple of stints at various theatres in the UK already. So he knows the scene, knows the people in it. So I feel like that's possibly a good shout.
I mean, I'd love Blum to be here. I'd love Blum to just be here in general.
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. No, he got very excited when I said I'd come from London, and he went, "Oh, where in London?" I went, "London." He was like, "No, I've lived there. Where?"
Oh, yeah, he's an absolute sweetheart. Also, he has like, being real here, I love Alex very much, but that man owns about 4 shirts. And it's redonkadonk, and Will Blum has about like 7 different button-ups in 2 days, and it's like, yes man, we love it. And then Alex goes to like an opening night and wears that same blue shirt with a basketball on it, the blue shirt with the basketball on it, the like lips shirt, the weird one with like triangles or like squares on it. And the thing is, like, when I would visit the theater a lot, and when he still stage doored, it was like one of the 3, and then I was like, oh my god, new shirt maybe, and there's like literally only 4 that he has, and that I've seen him wear.
Buy him a new shirt. I see
buy this man a shirt.
The amount of times that I've tweeted, like, I need to go and buy the Bright Man a new shirt, and his mother liked that on Twitter, and she was like, we gotta go. We got to go. His mother is an absolute
He's always
sweetheart.
in the costume.
Yeah.
He lives in the costume. He never takes it off.
I mean, it is very on brand for like Human Beach, and also just, you know, Alex is chill and he's just vibing. But like, man, if you're going to a thing and if you wear another t-shirt, a bad t-shirt with a blazer and jeans, I'm going to kill you. It's like, I love him so much, but it's like, oh, come on. Redonkadonk.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Redonkadonk. But I cannot remember what we were talking about, but I just roasted
So
Alex.
we just talked about theories. So we've got the UK, Tour of America. I'm pretty sure that's confirmed-ish at this point. I think that's something they're definitely looking at doing, and that would be really cool. I probably will end up going over there to catch it at some point, because that would be great.
Honestly, I was so good. I had tickets for the 8th.
Yeah,
literally, I was so close. I was so close, and then it just snatched away.
Wait, the
and the first thing I said was, "Who's got the Infinity Gauntlet?" Because nothing else could really come to mind. That was literally to Broadway.
Yeah,
Eighth of May.
Jumanji. Can we stop?
The 8th of Brit. The 8th of when? When did you plan to go?
Oh, the 8th of May. So it's like smack dab in the middle between like the Rona kicking off and then them leaving.
So what are you doing with? Because I presume if you have like had a plane ticket, like what are you doing with that? Are they
it's all to do with refunds now. It's just having to wait for seeing what they would say. Because obviously, I was willing to go to New York if Corona died down a bit. Like if it was going to stay on, that would have happened. But because Broadway's closed down, it must be really dangerous to go to New York now. So I hope that everyone's got their thinking caps on and don't send people from the UK to the hot spot. So I'm hoping they cancel our flights, because if they don't, then we have to, and it costs nearly £1,000 to cancel the flight.
I mean, right now, like, things are like we've cancelled. I mean, it's not that far ahead now, but that every bit by bit, like, each flight is getting cancelled as long as our legislation of, like, self-isolation is being put in place, as well as New York and America and stuff. So I'm pretty sure that will happen. The weird thing was, of, like, I think I mentioned real briefly that my friend Kristen was going to come over here. Shout out to Kristen, I love you. That basically, like, she was flying over, and then her mom was like, oh, they've stopped travel from America to England, so, like, if you get on this flight, you probably won't be able to come back. But the thing was, it wasn't actually, it was Europe, not the UK, so she missed the flight, but it was willingly, so she had to pay for it, but it was because of a scare that she wouldn't get home, so, like, she got the return flight, but in, like, vouchers, so you have to, like, fly within, like, the next year or something, which is, like, BS, but, like, the amount of things that flights must be cancelled right now. And that is a drawing of Beach with a rainbow flag saying full homo, and we love it. Have you seen the audio where he says happy pride?
Yeah, how cute is that?
We love it. We love it.
I haven't seen that before.
Happy Pride is hanging out the window.
Oh no, did you? No, but he did it on stage.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm thinking of Kevin.
Oh.
Not the dog. Kevin Ninlo.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I was so close then. He's adorable. We stand.
Kevin or Alex? Okay. Kevin the dog? Kevin real person or Alex? Or
no, Kevin real person. Kevin real person.
All of them. Yeah, that's true. Oh. It's also a shame
going
because
really well for the audio people.
Yeah, no clue what's going on.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
I don't know how to explain it.
So
Adam, mate, I'm getting paid.
The other theories that we have are that it's going to move to a different theatre. So obviously there were rumours about the Barrymore a couple of months back. I know someone's also throwing around the Marquee, which is a pretty awesome theatre for them to move to. So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts? Because I think with the Barrymore they also have to downsize quite a bit. But then you're also staying with Schubert, so it's a bit of a win for the organisation. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, like, from the size of the set, there's so much set in Beetlejuice, and, like, the set changes. Moving to a smaller theatre would, like, really affect the way that the show was put on.
Oh, totally, 100%.
But, I mean, they'd find a way around it, I'm sure they would. But it would be, like, a massive...
Yeah, David Corrins is an absolute legend, so I'm sure he'll figure something out, but it must be pretty gutting to have to completely revamp it. But they would have had to for the tour, because I imagine on the tour you're not going to be getting the biggest theatres. So they'll need something that they can transport for that is also workable with the show. So it's almost convenient that they were thinking of the tour before all of this happened, so that they already had it in their minds a way of making it a bit smaller, which is really convenient.
Yeah.
Which it's weird because I hope they can move, but it would be a weird feeling if they take it and they move like a few blocks down for a show that could although I'm not super knowledgeable on music now, but like that they could very likely have taken another thing because they haven't even set up there, so it's like unnecessary work. So I feel like that would be a bit, and also like it's a shame because you have to get rid of that big Alex poster on the top with the big Beetlejuice sign with like Alex poking out, which I guarantee there's going to be some stands like cutting that up as it's like on the floor and like sharing pieces of it and like selling it on eBay or something crazy. I don't know what they'll do with that. I mean, I presume they throw it away, but like that must be a real process to take that.
I'll buy it.
Yes.
Just sell it off to someone.
That'll
to
go
be
around.
fair, someone will buy it.
Someone
do that.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the one time with the Grinning Man show I mentioned, they had like this smile, this like fake metal smile outside of the show, and my friend in the show told me afterwards that it was at some vintage shop in Ipswich or something, and we emailed them and they were like, yeah, it's for sale, and then I bought one. then I bought it, and now it's like in our garage, and that's so like
Awesome.
as well as I mentioned Brit last time that I did deadass try to steal. Yeah, that is Adam Maitland's ass. We love it.
Sorry.
No, we love it. Rob McClure can get it.
What an angel.
Yes, that I tried to steal one of the signs of the Beetlejuice marquee of that. But basically, the story of this is that they a sign was literally peeling off, like one of the Beetlejuice is the best shit, whatever. And there were railings near it, and I was saying goodbye to my friend Kristen. She was going back to Baltimore, and I was like, yeah, bye, okay, bye, because I was busy in this task. And I tried to climb up on the railings, and it was while the show was happening, so like, the security was kind of inside, so they didn't really see me, but then these two people came up, and they were like, oh, you need some help with that? And they helped me balance between two railings, one guy holding my hand, one person, like, holding my foot, as if I was, like, supposed to be doing this. And then I got, like, a corner, and I was ripping it, and a security guy came out, and he was like, what you doing there, bud? And I'm like, I thought you guys needed help with this, like, it's loose, so can I just help take it down? They were like, no, we're good. And then I just left, and I, like, ran for the subway.
Oh, no.
No, I know,
So
it was,
close.
and I packed for the next trip, one of those claw grabbers, so I could get it, and then they had fixed it by then. They had fixed it, and I was like,
Oh, no.
damn it! I know, I came prepared and everything, but it was ridiculous. So annoying. Ugh, how dare they? Truly.
Amazing.
That's great. I love how the people just helped you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You steal the sign. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah,
I
let's
don't-
do it.
Normally in New York,
That's good British culture.
I know. Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly. Normally in New York, they'd entirely just ignore you. Maybe they were tourists or something. But it was really sweet. It was really nice to, some real humanity there. But it was absolutely whack. But a lot of fun. I mean, that's probably one of my regrets, that I won't get that unless I can get a New York friend to steal it when they eventually have to take stuff down.
Yeah.
That'll be a moment.
We do not condone theft on the podcast.
No,
Sometimes.
no. But it was loose. But also,
Sometimes it's necessary.
but it showed that there was a second thing underneath it. Not that I was going to leave it bare. Like, it looked like they had two different, like, just in case it would fall off. And I was like, oh, I want to see what's underneath it. And I nearly
The Music Man, bastards.
God, yeah, they were there from the beginning.
Already there.
Exactly.
Conspiracy.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole. They were implanted in the theater. Wouldn't that be whack if that's how it was? They were like peeling away layers, and they had to do that. Maybe that's how it gets changed over so quickly, or
Yeah.
something. That would be crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm taking over Matty's bit because he's got to do something. But finally, our last section is Otho's life lessons. This week, our wisdom for you is that hot glue guns, they really do be hot.
They
So that's
really do.
really
I
good.
burnt my hand on one yesterday.
Oh,
So I was making a table and it's still burnt.
oh
It
I
hurts.
made the most I've ever used a hot glue gun was with Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared red guy wig, and I took every single piece of like yarn, cut it to approximately the same, like bunched them up in like 6, and then would like put a bunch of hot glue on the wig base and stuff and put it everywhere, and I got so many burns from that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, no, my art project this year has literally, I've been using hot glue guns so much. And the amount of burns I've got, my hands are like immune to it now.
Ugh.
It's quite good.
Life of a cosplayer.
But
Yeah.
it sort of hurts. They really do be hot.
We
I feel
insure-
like it was
Mm.
peak of my stupidity was I was working on a costume. I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. Probably Ozpin from Ruby. I was making a staff, and I was using a hot glue gun, and a bit of the glue got stuck at the end, at the tip. So I decided just to grab and try and peel it off.
Oh no.
Which, was the metal and the glue together, which was really convenient and great for everyone.
Oh,
Sounds
Yeah.
really painful.
why? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Peak of my
Use your
stupidity.
mouth.
Don't do that.
Use your tongue. It's cold.
That's on life lessons with Brit.
Yeah.
Use your tongue.
So, yes.
Brit
Good
2K20.
good also life lessons there.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
If you eat the glue, it won't burn you.
There,
Because it's on your
well,
inside and your stomach is wet.
there will only
That's not how it works, but
It will
yeah.
cancel it out.
it's only internal damage.
Brit being chaos and me and Charlie being like, no, kids,
Hot glue
don't
gun,
listen.
hot.
That is it.
That's how you know that you're a real Kinney, Beetlejuice Kinney. If you're dead, if you're like, yeah, I'll eat it.
I will eat it. I ate
We're really
deodorant
just
with
calling
Charlie,
Brit out for
actually.
being Kinney.
Oh God, have you seen Brit? Have
Just
you
ate
seen
deodorant.
you? I hate you. Have you seen?
Don't tell them that.
Have you seen? Have you seen
I
that
would
James
never
ate
eat
a bath
deodorant.
bomb? Have you seen that James ate a bath bomb?
Yeah.
That was the first time I knew James Jack Cos on TikTok and stuff. Of he is a wonderful friend of Charlie and I's Brit. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
I
But,
do.
oh yeah, what a legend.
Oh, everyone knows it.
And
Yeah.
TikTok legend. And that the first time I heard about him was through my friend Ellie, and that they were in like some group chat together, and I'm sure there's some other beach cosplayers in that I didn't know, but that they were just like, oh James, please stop eating a bath bomb in the group chat. And it's like, oh, you guys
Makes
are
your
so
breath
kind.
smell nice. If you don't have mouthwash and
Yeah.
shampoo,
No,
True.
drink it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
just drink
Tasty
it.
snack.
Dedication.
I think it's funny because everybody's kind of going crazy in isolation, and like this is how the
Yeah.
beach cosplay has been. We've been this
Yeah,
way.
We've been good.
We've been
great.
doing this.
I've put my couch pillows in the microwave.
What?
What?
Why?
Because I was cold and I wanted to warm up my cushions. So throw them in the microwave.
And how did that
That's
work
not
out?
bad logic.
How did that
Oh,
work?
yeah.
Fine. Wow. Well done.
I love that for you.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
such is life.
that. I mean, very always remaining on brand. I think that's definitely why people applaud you for your beach is the energy, really, as well as the production quality and the like jokes and the content. Like it's the energy that you exude, which is like when there is a chaos character, it's very wonderful to relate. Are there any other like because I know you said like Beej was your first time like being inspired to like cosplay something, but how long have you like been interested in like musical theatre or like characters on the stage or screen that you super relate to, even if you haven't actually like cosplayed them?
I think my first show that I saw, I was like 12, and that was The Lion King.
Oh
That's
wow.
my
way
first
back
show I
when.
saw.
Yeah. And then it went on to like Cats, and I loved the magical Mr. Mistopheles.
Oh
No clue why.
yes.
I didn't relate to him, just thought he was cool. Basically, like, I've been to loads of shows, but I have never related to a character more than Dirty Gross Rat Man. It's so weird. It says a lot about me, I think. It's
I think
not a
so
good
does
thing.
microwaving cushions.
It's not a bad
I
thing.
think it's a great thing.
The worst thing that I did was probably Beetlejuice would do is I've always owned fish. And one time one was not moving, and I tapped on the glass and he was not moving. I dropped food in, he was not moving, so I was like, great, he's dead. Got my net, picked him up, and I carried him. He's not moving. And then I get to the toilet and I tip him in, he starts swimming. I was like,
Oh no, bud.
it's the point of no return.
Oh god.
That's a
Oh,
people
no.
that Nemo on you, bud.
I already
Nemo.
flushed. I already flushed, and I was like,
Oh no.
Oh no.
oh.
No, that's
And in
that,
panic,
Nemo.
in just plain panic, I shoved my hand into the toilet bowl, grabbed this fish, just didn't know what to do with it. So then I'm just like, oh, and I kind of run back to the very room that I'm sat in, and I kind of just like low-key dropped him back into the tank. And I was just like,
Wait, you got him?
yeah, I got him. He was
How
fine. I don't
amazing.
know.
Well done.
Thank you. And then I was just kind of like, I just shoved my hand in a clean, but I don't care, toilet bowl
Yeah.
for a fish.
I mean, the
Everything.
dedication.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
I
exactly
just
on
wanted
brand.
to have the Finding Nemo life, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted him.
That's exactly on brand when B just like, I don't care about, like, he's trying to be like, oh no, I'm a lone demon and I'm fine, and then like immediately he sees
I need my
Lydia.
fish
Then
to
he's
keep me company.
yeah, and he's like, well, I can't let the fish die. Fish didn't do anything. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I'm a scary demon, but I need the company.
Yes.
The worst part is, I tell you, it's my mum's a fitness instructor, so when she's always like, I've got a yoga class or a Pilates class, I'm like, poser.
That's a very
She's just like, right, you need to chill with the whole Beetlejuice thing, and I'm like, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's
not a phase, Mom.
Not a phase.
It's not a choice. It just happens to you, and then you have to accept that fate.
I genuinely just dyed my hair to match that.
Good.
Yeah.
That.
I'm so tempted to dye my hair right
Oh,
now.
I'm so close. I'm so close.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Quarantine mood.
We're there, lads. I also dyed my eyebrow to do the opposite, so one blonde, black blonde.
I can see.
That's
It's very
really cool,
cool.
though. I love it.
That is cool.
Thank you.
It's a good
Thanks,
look.
guys. Thanks, guys.
If I get 5 retweets, I'm not even on Twitter. If I get 5 retweets, I'll dye my eye on my armpit hair and my eyelashes green.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's on the
Well,
podcast now.
there are 4 other of us. There are 4 other of us now, and I presume you better retweet it yourself. We are retweeting in real life. We are saying yes, do it. Yes, do it, and show us the results afterwards and gain some TikTok clout.
Yeah, you don't get a choice
God.
now.
Oh,
You have
great. What have I
It's gonna
done?
happen.
This is a
No.
podcast. Unlike theatre, this is endless, and it remains, and it is permanent, and we have a recording of this, and we have evidence,
Oh no.
and you have to now.
Blackmail material.
Yes.
You've locked yourself into a corner.
Silence to
Sadly
the
brings us
listeners.
to the end of the episode. That brings us to the end of this podcast. So that's a goodbye from me here, Perry.
Bye. Trying to find the script.
Yeah. Bye from me.
Bye from me. It's Ben. I've talked the whole fucking
And
time.
That
Goodbye.
is a sweet sayonara. That's not the word. Sayonara.
So thank you again to our special guest Brit for joining us on this.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Once again, so you'll be able to find this. We've got Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, and then you can also find us on Instagram. We are the Neither World. I think it's _podcast.
Yes.
On Instagram.
And what else do we have, Matty?
Do we have YouTube? Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
We do,
Did you say
yes.
YouTube?
And Facebook, I think.
Do we have Facebook now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we wanna plug our individual TikToks or Instas?
Go ahead. Absolutely.
So Perry, plug your
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah, so I'm the 4 rats in a trench coat. Not the 4 rats, just 4 rats in a trench coat. I'm on
The number 4.
Yes.
The number 4, yes, thank you. So yeah, number 4 rats in a trench coat, and that's on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Yeah.
Charlie, what about
So
you?
that's it. So, yes, Charlie, go.
With your handle.
Say your damn username.
Sorry.
Pressure.
Charles II cause on TikTok and Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome. Matty?
Matty Cosplay Show on TikTok. Matty and the Cosplay on Instagram. Yeah.
Nice.
Amazing.
Brit?
Lowercase b's all around, and it is bug_beverage on absolutely everything.
Nice.
Snapchat, Instagram, everything.
Oh, remaining the brand, getting the clout. I am Benedictok on TikTok, and that is all I will plug. But this was wonderful. Thank you, Brit, for being here, and it's nice.
We need to plug
Thank you for having me.
Ren.
Oh.
No, wait. We need to plug Ren, Evil Misfits
Yes.
on
Misfits.
TikTok
Yes.
and Insta, who's our editor. Great work. And
Absolutely.
Such a good egg.
some money.
Very good egg.
egg. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
So again, thank you, Brit. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to
and
you.
that's for this episode
Yeah.
of the Neither World podcast. See you next week.
Wonderful.
Bye.
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 Bye.